We got brand new Assassin's Creed Mirage gameplay and info from the Game Informer cover story, some good and bad PlayStation news, but let's start this weekly news roundup video with updates on big upcoming RPGs. For one, The Witcher 4 is now in active development with nearly 260 developers working on the game right now. And this will only grow as after releasing Phantom Liberty, the DLC for Cyberpunk of course, we will transfer a big part of the team to Polaris, which is the codename for Witcher 4, and is according to the CD Projekt Red CEO. And there are, by the way, right now 300 people putting the finishing touches on that expansion, so expect the Witcher 4 team to be around the 400 men strong easily by the end of this year. We know the game will be running on Unreal Engine 5 instead of CDPR's own engine, and in March 2022 they also teased the School of Links, which will likely play a big role in this new saga for the franchise, like they want to make a trilogy of games again. Now we should not hold our breath though, like I think 2026, so 6 years after Cyberpunk is probably the earliest we will see this game, so that would be near the end of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series generation. Still though, that would probably be before Elder Scrolls 6, like now that Starfield is in early access and out for everyone very soon at the time of this recording, let me know if you are or are going to be playing in the comments. Like now a huge part of Bethesda Game Studios can finally move on to Elder Scrolls 6, but yeah, even though they announced it in 2018, it's still very much in early development, with also more info still being years away. I've said it before, but you would think that it's in Microsoft's best interest to hand over the big Bethesda IPs to one of their many studios, so we have a Fallout game before 2030. Still think the aim right now is to have Elder Scrolls 6 as a next-gen Xbox launch game in 2028, which is when the new consoles are expected. That would of course be pretty huge. 5 years of development time. I can see it happen, although worth noting is that Starfield was in development for 8 years, so they might need more time for Elder Scrolls 6. Now some sad news before we talk about that new Mirage gameplay. Volition, the studio behind Saints Row and Red Faction, if we go back more, I still remember playing Red Faction Guerrilla when it came out. The destruction for that time was really impressive. Either way, it's sad news. Volition is namely closing down as part of Embracer's cost-cutting practices, and it's very likely because of the poor sales and reception to that Saints Row reboot that cost them over $100 million to make. And I know people were surprised by that number, but I think it makes sense. The open world was actually pretty well done and impressive and requires a lot of systems. They of course had a ton of customization options. The story though and the writing was really bad, just like the combat that just did not have the same fun weapons and chaos as the previous games. They made Agents of Mayhem before this, and it's totally not weird if you don't remember this game because it only sold 300,000 copies. And what you usually see is that if a new IP doesn't work for a studio, they go back to their well-known series to have a guaranteed hit. We saw that with BioWare, that after Anthem is now doing a Dragon Age and Mass Effect game, Crystal Dynamics after Avengers is now working on Tomb Raider, and I would not be surprised if Rocksteady after Suicide Squad goes back to making a single-player Batman. So Volition was in that same situation, but if they cannot even make a solid Saints Row game, which is kind of their cash cow, then what were they going to do next? Like with Rockstar only focused on GTA Online right now and taking more than a decade to release a new GTA game, they really had a big opportunity to grab a piece of that urban gangster-style open-world game pie, but they did not. Don't get me wrong, it's really sad that this studio shut down. It had a huge legacy, and I of course hope that every developer can get a new job fast. But I also think that it's kind of a logical conclusion after what they did to their own series. And you can, by the way, try Saints Row via PS Plus this coming week. It's one of the essential titles. I still think there's fun to be had. I finished it, but I also don't recommend that you spend too much time with it. Of course, RIP Volition, always sad to see a huge studio go. I hope everyone lands on their feet. Let's look at the new Mirage gameplay. We got some PlayStation rumors and more. Of course, if you like the video so far, then leaving a like would really show your support, and subscribe because I post one of these news roundup videos every week. Maybe you already saw it on social media, I played Assassin's Creed Mirage at the lead studio Ubisoft Bordeaux, but I cannot say much more yet. Of course, expect a ton of content when I'm able to talk talk about it, but Game Informer was already able to share things from their trip as part of their cover story. They shared this behind the scenes video that also included gameplay of 3 side contracts that you can of course pick up at the contracts board in one of the assassin bureaus in Baghdad. These are small missions with a singular objective and special challenges like do not take any damage or remain undetected, so really pushing you to do stealth. For one mission, Game Informer had to steal a boat, so you can first scan the area with your bird Enkidu, and we see that they changed the scanning circle a bit, which is nice. So then you have to remain unseen and then reach and deliver the boat to a hiding spot. For one contract, Basim had to find a slave master and then assassinate them, and we also saw a new variant on that Ubisoft Forward mission where Basim now assassinates that big enemy that is standing close to the target with, I think, the trap. Pretty OP from the looks of it. And overall, many tools were shown, including an upgrade for the throwing knife that deals poison damage on impact, so even if the enemy would not die from the knife hit, they will still go down thanks to the damage over time. We also see Basim throw a noisemaker to lure a guard away, so he could more safely take out the other target, and then do the chain assassination to finish the job. And there was also a clip of him doing some parkour, really showing his increased speed versus Eivor, and also how Baghdad is really made with parkour in mind. Game Informer did not have new gameplay for the Assassin's focus, but did say that the amount of targets you could kill with this ability would increase by upgrading your Assassin's rank, and this happens during the story. And also how up to 5 targets seems to be the max for this attack. Of course, let me know your take in the comments, and I also put all the new gameplay after each other on my second channel, Assassin's Raptor. I will leave a link to that video in the video description for if you want to see it like that. And totally subscribe to that channel, and of course here as well for my hands-on coverage, which will be coming soonish. Now onto Sony, maybe you already heard it, but they are raising the prices for PlayStation Plus again. And when I saw this, I was like, again? This happened not too long ago, so I did some research, and they also increased the prices back in March 2022. So now, like more than a year later, we get another price hike, which is pretty crazy. And of course, Sony shares, so their stock increased following the PlayStation Plus price hike announcement. The investors are of course really happy about this. So what will happen is that starting September 6th, the 12-month subscription price will increase. So from $60 for Essential to $80, €60 to €72, and £50 to £60. For Extra, where of course get access to a huge lineup of like PS4 and PS5 games, you go from $100 for a year to $135. Like especially in the US, the increases are insane. €100 to €126, and £84 to £100. And then for the premium tier, that of course gives you like trials for games and classic games, $120 for a year to $160, €120 to €152, and £100 to £120. So again, especially the US will be paying way more. And if you know that you will be using PS Plus anyways in the future, you can still stack up on the membership till September 6th for the current price. So you might want to do that. Of course, this overall kind of sucks though, and Sony says that this price adjustment will enable us to continue bringing high quality games and value added benefits to your PlayStation Plus subscription. So we should totally be more critical of the games that are coming to the service in the future, because we're paying more now, so we should expect more as well. Maybe a weird prediction, but Helldivers 2, maybe that's like a PlayStation Plus extra launch game similar to Stray and Sea of Stars recently. I can see them do that. And it's overall kind of weird that they announced this like bad news in the week that Starfield launches. Like you would think that Sony wanted some good news to counter that big Xbox win instead. Well, there are now rumors from the very reliable Jeff Grubb that he heard a State of Play is coming, and this feels like a lead-in for that. Like, I know I talked about a rumor about a second PlayStation showcase that would happen this year, but I really don't see it happen anymore. Like, they got Spider-Man 2 coming, which is already enough to focus on. It will sell gangbusters. And by the way, learned that you need 98 gigs for it to be installed on your PlayStation, so better prepare that space. Again, Helldivers 2 should still be out this year, although it has been pretty quiet, and they're launching that PlayStation Portal device with a date now, November 15th for $200, and we can pre-order the device right now on PlayStation Direct and on September 29th at other retailers. I'm still on the fence, but I'll probably get one anyways. But yeah, that state of play, I can totally see it happen if it's around like Tokyo Game Show, probably just before like they did last year in September 2022. That's where we saw Rise of the Ronin for the first time, with rumors indicating that that might be early 2024. So I don't expect an update at this state of play if it's happening. We also saw Tekken 8 there for the first time, like a Dragon Ishin, a new trailer for Stellar Blade, wherever that game is right now, like a lot of Asian titles, so I can totally see this state of play happening, probably in the 2nd or 3rd week of September. I'll of course keep you posted here. And let me know what you would like to see in the state of play in the comments. Now this coming week, I will finally share that video with all the games I played at Gamescom, and we will have a ton of spoiler-free Starfield coverage, with the game of course officially launching on September 6th and also being available in Game Pass. I'm really curious what the player numbers will be. I think it's gonna be somewhere like 20 million. That's my prediction, like in 1 week. I can see it happen. It's gonna be crazy. And I'll of course have a new news roundup video like this on Sunday, so subscribe to not miss anything. A like on the video would really help me out, and check out last week's Sunday video news roundup by clicking on the screen. I will speak to you very soon. Thanks for joining, and speak to you soon. Goodbye.